Bases! Bases, hello! Bases in the house. Hey guys, where are you all from? Let me see. Oh, look at this. From Portugal. Fantastic. Washington State. I love this. Bases, I was over there working with the tenors, who sound terrific, I think. This is a very odd way to run a rehearsal, I'm not hearing any of you, but in my mind, the tenors sounded fantastic. What we've got now is we've got a half an hour or maybe a little bit more if you've got the time, just in case we run over. We can talk through the piece. I'd like to share with you not only the insights into the way that I'm hoping you'll perform it, but also answer any questions that you might have and tell you a little bit about why I wrote it and why the bass line is the way it is. Yeah, all that good stuff. But let's just sit back and relax and let's spend a half an hour plus making some good music together, shall we? Look at this, Venezuela, look at this, Virginia, Spain. Oh, Spain, I miss Spain so much. I hope you're all well over there. South Africa, Port Elizabeth. Isn't this incredible? Basis, can you imagine? You're all together here from all over the world. Arlington, Texas, Germany. It makes my heart warm. And yo from Belgium, look at that. Friedrich, ja. My friend Friedrich.
Fredrik, hej, hur mår du? Jag mår bra.
So that beautiful face that you just saw jump in and speak Flemish or Swedish is my wife, Laurent Servaz, and she's actually going to lead us through a little warm up here at the beginning, gang. I'm a big believer that you shouldn't ever really sing without a warm up. You know, ours is the only instrument that is our actual body, and so instead of tuning, instead of preparing the instrument in the way that an instrumentalist might, we've got to just warm up the body. So please, will you welcome back, direct from Belgium, soprano Laurent Servaz.
Direct from Belgium. I flew in this morning.
And boy, are my arms tired.
Really great joke. So as always, we start by warming up the shoulders, warming up the neck. Like I always say, it's just great to do these few exercises right before you start singing, because our instrument is our body is our instrument. So when you see people playing the violin right before they play in the orchestra, right? Everyone's warming up on the stage. They're warming up their fingers, their body, their mind. It's a whole mindset to like tuning in with your instrument. We do the same, tuning in with our instrument, which is the body. So just making sure that everything feels relaxed. And so whatever exercise you want to do, they're all good. And when you did there, you start warming up the actual voice. La voce. The basses, they have awesome lines, just like the tenors, also butter. Everyone should be able to do a really good job on this one, I think. So we'll warm up what you need, what register you need for this piece.
Yeah, like cheese days. Here, I can help.
My bass voice this morning. Well, we'll start with a few lip trills.
We're down here, basses.
Sorry, I gotta sing it higher.
Yeah. Should we do it together?
Yeah.
Ready?
We'll repeat that. Try to not clench the jaw. Try to not do this, but just have it very loose and Botoxy. basses, I always try to urge you to not really drop those low notes. That there's a really nice video on the Think Tank on Virtual Choir 6, the website, and it's from Johnny from
from the bass from the King Singers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he talks about the voice quality going from a very nasal voice to a very hollow voice, and it's like right in between that you find the warmth of the voice, right? So the bassists want to sing with a warm and I dare to say light voice, so that it's not like right? I don't know why I did that. So that's why we start a little higher and then go down the octaves to always like get a little bit from that higher register into the low notes, so it's not all like you don't sit on them.
Should we do maybe down to G's?
Yeah. So we start so low. We start with the E vowel, E, to bring it up front. And then we drop the jaw, just having everything relaxed. Don't think about it too much. Ya, ya, ya. Which means yes,
Oui.
in Flemish, we see.
Thank you, baby. Laurence Servaz. Thanks, Laurence. Okay, gang. Hopefully you're all warmed up now. I have to tell you now, this is the fourth sectional, right? Yesterday we had sopranos and altos. I just had tenors, and now I'm here with you basses. And I feel that this is my tribe right here. It's like I don't know if you ever feel that when you're in a choir. And I like singing mixed. It's fun, but there's nothing like, okay, all the basses are together. Here we go. Yeah, it's like we're all in it together. Good. Okay, so basses, let's talk about Sing Gently, shall we? Let's start at the very beginning. So this is in measure 5, right? So 8 bars before you even come in. But I think it's super important here. I don't know if you're like me. When I first began singing in choir, I generally was just interested in the bits I sang, right? So if there's 8 bars abreast, then I'm just waiting, and then now is my time to shine. But as a composer, I think about it in a much different way. So for instance, the sopranos and altos begin and they sing this bit, May We Sing Together, right? So they sing this and then, right? And then boom. And I want to talk about this at length for just a moment. So the first bit is whenever I compose a piece of music, I try to have the very beginning be what I call the primer. It has all the rules for the piece that the audience and the performers need to have to take this emotional journey. And it's what I call the golden brick. I won't get too far into it, but in this case, what we're teaching the audience is that we start in unison. And then immediately, in this kind of melancholy, gently piercing way, we move away from each other, right? And then comes up, and then even when unison, then the sopranos split away. It's the idea of this divergence, right? That there's this broken, or there's this beautiful pot, this ceramic pot that's been broken, and now there are these ceramic pieces that are separate from each other. And also, it's sung in this kind of plaintive way, almost like solo instruments, right? If this were an orchestra, this would probably be 2 clarinets, or maybe a clarinet in A and an English horn sing a little duet. And there's 2 things that are important about this. One is that they're establishing for us this musical idea that we're going to be doing throughout the piece spaces, and all the other parts do too, which is that we lean in on beat 1 just a little bit and pull back on beat 2 just a little bit, this little dance, right? So that we get 1, 2, and then you hear that? So we get push, pull, push, pull. That's going to serve us through the entire piece. That's one of these governing principles that we set up at the beginning. The other thing is that because it starts in this kind of soloistic and plaintive way, your first note basis, and if you take a look at it on 13, it's not just that you come in on this G and now we're singing. You're the only people to sing. And what we're doing is it's a dramatic shift in the music, in that up until this part, we've got this very hollow sound, and then it's going to become cinematic. So as your first entrance, I want you to think of 100 celli, just this big, lush, warm sound. It's only mezzo piano, but I think it'll color the way that you enter there. So that it's just got a bloom to it. And then what you do, basses, and this is, as a bass, I always try to give these bass parts, these parts of the basses. You motivate everyone else. So by that boom, then that lets the other voices kind of blossom from that first note. So it's not just an entrance in mezzo piano. It's a whole moment. It's actually incredibly important what we're singing there. Now let's talk through the nuts and bolts of what we're about to sing. So, may our singing be music. Let's take a breath. The way that Greg does, he's the one doing the guide track. If you haven't listened to it yet, he's got such a beautiful, clear, clean voice. Greg Skidmore. So a little lift after music, and may it. When you take that little lift, because there's the C on there, music, just the tiniest little k at the end of music. Try to imagine, if you can, several thousand basses singing along with you, and how little of that consonant that we need. Music. Just touch it. Then, as we sing, and may. Okay, so a couple of things here. If you need a breath there down at the bottom, and may it keep others aloft, just sneak one in somewhere. It's going to be okay, because we've got enough basses to cover the whole line. If you do sneak it, and just be careful of the consonants. So for instance, if you do it after keep others, not a big P, or others, don't worry about that consonant. You want to sneak out and sneak back in. So really no ending consonant if you take a breath there, or just the tiniest little one, so that it doesn't muddy all of that up. Then on a loft, we've just got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off, right? That's what's written in our part. But if you look at what's happening above us, right? So the other voices, and then on beat 1 of the next bar, that that nice dissonance, right? So what we want to do is we're going to support that a little bit, even though it's not written in the sheet music. We're going to lean in on beat 1 a little bit too of measure 17, 18, 19, of 20. So in 19, we're going to sing. Just lean in a little bit on the second bar of that loft. And then on the word loft, just the most delicate evaporation of the FT, loft. Just let that go, all right? So can we start at may our singing? Let's sing all of this together. Ready? 2, go. Got it? Okay, so the idea here is, one last thing that I wanted to say is in 17, basses and baritones, we will have these covered. So just take whichever of the notes you like to sing, really. If you look at any of the choral music I've written, I discovered this pretty early on, that I just love the sound of a perfect fifth in the basses. And so in this piece, I try my best to only write in 4 parts. If any of you sung my other music, you know that I have a really hard time sticking with only 4 parts. That parts tend to split and split and split. But in this case, I just had to have these notes, because what happens is, look at the tenors above you on keep, right? So we've got bass, baritone, tenors. For me, this is the best, warmest sound when you've got this, because then when you've got the sopranos and altos above it, it warms up and activates all those overtones that they're there singing. And so choose whichever note you have. The other thing I wanted to point out is, some of you may be involved in music theory, and if your music theory was anything like mine, the first thing, or one of the very first things they tell you, is no perfect fifths, no parallel perfect fifths. That's stupid. That's really stupid. Maybe if you want to write like Bach in 1745, that's why you don't do parallel, although Bach has a couple instances where he did it as well. But if you take a look at the tenor and bass line from "And May It Keep," right? And it's just all parallel fifths. Then we finally get this. Yeah, it's, to me, that sound of those parallel fifths, it sounds warm and rich. And also, it's the foundation of all pop and rock music. It's, oh my God, what would we do without, what is it? Right? Like, you can't even have a distorted electric guitar without a parallel fifth. Anyway, yeah. So just when you hear that in your theory class, please roll your eyes for me, will you? Good. Okay, so now moving over to measure 21. This is what I call the hook. And by the hook, what I mean, what, baby?
Came for the choir, stayed for the deep purple.
Yeah, Laurence is reading out comments to me that she's reading. She said, yeah, came for the choir, stayed for the deep purple. Word. Okay, so here at 21, this is what I call the hook basses. And by hook, I mean that in a very pop rock kind of way. This isn't a pop song, but it's got a hook in that the most memorable part of it is the part, it's the message that we want to communicate to the audience. And that's this idea of singing gently. I also love the idea of thousands of people. We have all of this inherent power, but what we do when we come to that moment is actually the opposite. It's very gentle. Nothing sends chills up the back of my spine more than thousands of people singing softly together. That's incredibly beautiful and human, I find. So here at basses, I would argue we have the most important note in all of this. It's not going to feel like it, but you get the sopranos and altos, right? And they sing 2, 3, C, and then gen, then basses, and then we. Okay, so always remember push pull, off. And what's so nice about the C, I want you to keep it nice and right in the center of the pitch. Always, because what's happening above you with the sopranos and altos beautiful, and so we just want to, as long as it's nice and in tune, then we get that buzz from that. Then going on, we sing 1, 2, 2, right to the downbeat, 1, 2. Now we open up and breathe. Good. Okay, so a couple of things here. So as 1, hear the little Z, the Z in there for you South Africans. As 1, right? And we're going to put a little voiced N at the end, right on beat 1 of 29. As 1. So you hear the N there. Then a nice full tank of air, because now we're the entire cello section, plus probably bassoons, plus probably a couple of horns. It's this big, warm, cinematic sound for us basses that we sing, boom, with the tenors, right? And then also basses, even though we're at this warm, full sound, we still do on 2, push, pull, just a little bit going on, and 33, 1. 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so now I know there's a question here because, yeah, it's badly written. Let's do this. So this is 33, 34, 35, 36. There's a bit of a typo here in that if you're the baritone, you're going to stay on the E, and so you'll hold all the way through and lift. Then your next note will be that D on May. If you're the basses, bass 2s, then you'll go down on beat 3, so that we get 1, 2, 3, both those notes together, and a breath. Stay here. 1, 2, 3, off. Okay, so a bunch of stuff here, and then we'll go and sing it. Starting in 33, I'd love to hear a nice V on voice. May our voice be strong. Breath there, right? Then may we hear the singing. Breath and may. Then if you need a breath, and may we always sing along. If you need a breath in here, find a place to jump out and jump back in. But again, with the consonants, just be super careful that we don't muddy it up with other consonants. Baby, questions?
Measure 28 octaves is written. Yes.
Yes. So basses, basses. This is super important more than any other part. I need you to sing exactly as it's written. If any of you are like me, my voice is getting lower every year, and frankly, like I've got low notes for days. I've got all these weird Russian notes. And so it's tempting to sing an octave below, but I need you to sing in the octave. Otherwise, it becomes something totally different. So in this case, sing all the notes as written, okay? Good. Can we sing let's go from May We Stand Together. This is measure 29 with all the stuff. Oh, one last thing. When we sing at the very end of this, at the end of page 5, when we sing long, right? We're here, and all we've got is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty boring, right? But don't forget, the altos and the sopranos, or the altos and tenors, have that same push-pull in measure 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, that last bar. So that we're singing here, and they've got that little, right? So what I want you to think is that lean just a little bit on beat 1. Good, here we go. Let's sing from 29, shall we? 2, 3, go. Push, pull, and go. push, pull, 3, off. Excellent, excellent. I can't hear you, but I'm assuming you sound great. I'm hoping your family or whoever you're quarantined with also thinks that you sound great. Baby, questions?
Yes. How do you pronounce the word here?
Uh,
I think it's here or here. A lot of questions.
yeah, okay. So, yeah, I know that the R's are the big one. And I'm going to make a separate video and post this basis because you can imagine here it's spoken and sung differently all around the world. In general, even though I'm an American and I'm writing in America, please don't put any American R's on these things ever. May we hear the, if it were me, I would just concentrate only on the vowel. Hear the. I think I would do a more British thing and really no R at all. Hear the sing, because hear the, it's just gross. Even to my American ears, that R is terrible. Another question, baby.
And another one is in aloft. Is it aloft? Like, how do they pronounce?
Oh, so in that case, instead of aloft, I would say it's more aloft. You hear that? It's what we would call an IPA a schwa, but it's aloft, as if it were UH loft. And don't forget loft. More important than the vowel, believe it or not, there is that FT at the end. That's nice and gentle. Good. Let's take a look now at the second hook. This is in 45. For me, this is my favorite part of the piece. This is when we get the most intimate, and this is where we deliver the real message of the piece. Usually when I compose, what I'm doing in a piece like this is I'm spending most of the piece gently trying to open up the breastplate, metaphorically, of course, but that I'm trying to just, with the dissonances here and there and the words and the push and the pull, just trying to kind of slowly open up the breastplate so that we've got the heart available. And then in a moment like this, we've spent 2 minutes building to this, and then we can deliver the message directly to the heart. So when we sing here, it's not just pianissimo. It's got a tenderness that we didn't even have the first time around. All right, let's sing it. You ready? 2, go. Push, pull, push, pull. 1, 2. Breath. 1, 2, 3, 1. As. Good. Basis, I would say let's definitely take a breath in 52 between the words one and as, right? So that we sing 2, 3, 1, as. So we've got a nice full tank of air there to get to here. Then we're off to our parallel fifth land, which I love the sound of this. So basis, basically you can take a breath everywhere there is a comma. It's pretty simple for us in this way. I would say the one other place you could take one that's not written, just so you've got enough air, is 61, 62, 63, 64, gently as one. You could take one right there. Final thing, and this one's an important one before we sing all the way through this basis, is that in the one, the very last word that we sing, we're going to slowly close to an N. Now, Greg Skidmore, I can't remember exactly how he did it, but the truth is it doesn't matter. For me, it's actually nice if we close at slightly different times to this N because we get a more diffused sound. I find it more beautiful than everybody closing exactly at the same time. But the most important part is that we close slowly to an N, right? So we'll do 1. Hear how gentle and slow that is? I've thought for years, because I do this all the time where I close to an N or an M in pieces that I've written, about inventing some sort of dynamic looking thing that is that slow, gradual close to an N, like a notation thing, a way of notating. But that's what we want, is you're closing almost over 3 beats to that N. Question?
As a bass 1 on the last note, can we take it up an octave?
Yeah, basses, if you want to take it up an octave, absolutely, because you're doubled by the tenors. And I'll show you. Well, let's sing through it, and then we'll talk about the metaphorical implications of this. this music. Shall we sing, gang? Let's sing from 45 all the way to the end. Ready? 1, 2, go. Push, pull, push, pull. 1, 2, off. 2, 3, 1, pass. Now here we go. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now it's us, basses. Good, good, good. Okay, and so what we're doing here, basses, at the end of the piece is we end as we began, and that's in unison on a G. So you remember the sopranos and altos began. For me, this is the idea is that, like, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Japanese art form called kintsugi, and what they do is they take a broken piece of pot, a pot, right, with these different shards that have been broken, and they repair it, and they repair it with this usually gold filament, and in the repairing of it, it's not only stronger but more beautiful than it was before. It's a way of embracing the brokenness of it and the healing as the essential part of the art form, the beauty of the art form. And so even at the beginning, we break apart, right? And for me, this is very metaphorical about what's happening in society right now. We're here, then it's all breaking apart. And then what we're going to do finally at the end of the piece is we come back, right? So we start here, basses. This is gently as one. We sing gent, gent. And there we are. That we're all in unison. We're one again. The piano's even with us. And the only thing left is that third from the piano. And that third for me is that golden glue. That's that thing that binds all of this together. So as you sing the piece, that's where we're headed the entire way, is through a series of breaks, of meditations, of soaring aspiration, and then finally returning to one, truly being one and together with each other. Basses, I think we're out of time. You've been amazing. You sound incredible in my head. I think we should probably do another one of these, and I'm going to try to do some sectionals too later in the night. I'm here in Los Angeles, but just for all of our friends in Asia and Australia who are either up in the middle of the night right now trying to do this or just can't catch it. A huge thanks. Oh, Bay, a question?
The question is, do they get notifications when there's new sectionals?
Yes, absolutely. So you'll get new notifications about sectionals, all of that stuff. A big thanks to Laurence. Thanks, baby. And gang, thank you for what you're doing here. I can't tell you as a composer how humbling it is to me, and how even after doing this for so many years, it takes my breath away. The idea that I sit here at my little piano, I write these notes that I hope somehow mean something, and then I upload it, and then all of you out there, you take these notes into your hearts, into your spirits, into your minds, and together somehow with the technology and just with our shared humanity, we bring this thing to life. We make something so beautiful that we never could make on our own. It really takes every one of us. And I'm just grateful to all of you for being part of it.
Yeah, so, really cool of everyone tuning in, and there's people saying, "Oh, I'm in the Philippines. It's after 1 a.m. People are up all night."
Is there? There's Philippines up there?
Yeah,
thank you.
People are having a lunch break at work, right? So really cool.
Amazing. Thank you all so much, gang. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care, gang.